Hi everybody! Raw! Critic Creature back with another review video, and today I will be continuing my review on Pacific Rim The Black, but this time on the second and sadly final season. But before I do, two warnings. First, this will contain spoilers. If you have not watched the series, you should not watch it, or this season yet, you should not watch this video. And second, if you have, prepare for some sadness. Well, the season picks up right where it left off. Boy is in his kaiju form, trapped under some rubble, and it seems like Taylor and May don't know how to, accept that Boy is like a kaiju, but Haley sees past that monstrous side, and he's still Boy, except for the fact that he could kill Rippers just by stabbing them. Oh, that's what the kaiju dogs are called, Rippers. And after this whole thing, it seems like there's a bit of a tension in the team of what to do with Boy. Either leave him or they should leave him. Leave him or keep him. And when Boy just ran away in his human form, killed a few Rippers, he encountered the sisters. And they poisoned him with a kaiju tick. I mean, if it can affect kill kaiju, whew, man. Oh, and if you want to know what kind of category kaiju Boy is, he's a category 2. Which is weird, because he's called the Kaiju Messiah. I mean, sheesh. But I guess if he gets older in his human form, I'm pretty sure he'll get big. His category will get bigger. And May knows someone who could cure Boy from the tick. But, I don't know if you could call him up right in the head. He's kind of a kaiju fanatic. More than Newt was in the Pacific Rim movies, if you know who Newt is. And he lives in a place called Never Never Valley. So they go there, and it seems Shane is following them. Yep. But, okay. And there's a bad thing about this Never Never Valley. What's the maximum number of kaiju you see in the movie all in one place? 3. We've seen 2 category 4s and 1 category 5 all in the same place in the 2 movies. But in Never Never Valley, there's a total of 12. 12 kaiju in one place. A dozen of them. That's a lot. I mean, come on. Not even one Jaeger can get past them or fight. Oh. And in the Never Never Valley, you see 2 kaiju that were from the first movie. The first one is like that big axe-headed one from that attacked San Francisco. And then it was the one that could fly. With the tail and the acid spit. Yeah, that one. And we also learned that from the Kaiju Fanatic that he found out that the Kaijus have adapted to breeding. And there are Kaiju hybrids in the Black. I mean, crazy. The Kaiju have adapted to breeding. Yeah, and after the sisters killed his Kaiju's food supply. Yeah. He's been taking care, this Kaiju fanatic has been taking care of the Kaiju, but seems like they only listened to him because he could feed them, and without food, he got eaten himself. So, Taylor, Haley, and May had to get out of there, and it was not easy to get past them. I mean, whew, I don't think even Gypsy Danger could handle that many. And that Jaeger fought 2 of them in that city. Was it Manila or Hong Kong? I don't know. And then, well, they escaped, but they ended up in the sisters' territory, where there are Kaiju, Jaeger mechs, just like in a formation or something. But there was only one way that could save Boy. The sisters poisoned him, so they knew how to cure him. But who's to say if they even give him Boy, they would let them go through safely. Taylor did that to protect his sister and May, but there was no guarantee that the sisters would keep their word and let them go past. And they didn't. It seems like the sisters can control Kaiju, like talk to them, tell them to attack. And believe it or not, when they were getting attacked by multiple, like, Category 3s, like, non-stop, one at a time, Shane saved them. And the Kaiju actually stopped. And by doing that, Shane kind of took them down. But he captured one of the sisters. And seems like Shane found something out about this sister he caught. It was none other than Taylor and Haley's own mother. She was alive, but I don't know if you could call what happened to her alive. And if you're wondering why she's one of the sisters, it's pretty kind of messed up what the sisters do. You see, they go around the black, all of Australia. They get recruits by going after other survivors, killing the men and taking all the women, and then putting them into some kind of hypnotic, crazy state. They look almost, it's almost like they get infected with Kaiju blood. But here's a question. If Taylor and Haley's mother is alive, does that mean their dad is alive too? I don't know. He must have escaped. He wasn't in the Kaiju mech. Their Jaeger. Which means he had to be somewhere. And now to know about Shane. He did something unthinkable I didn't think he would do. He drifted into Taylor and Haley's mom's mind to try and get her back. And he did. It was a success. He brought her back. But she was still under the control. But I don't know if she's still under control yet. If she's herself. Well, at least Brynna is back. But at the cost, Shane sacrificed himself in order to save her. And it was also a redemption for him to prove to May that he cared. And he knew he couldn't come back. He wouldn't come back after this. Survive. So he gave his right-hand tech support Spider a drive to give to May in case he didn't come back. It was filled with all of May's original memories of her family, of her real family. I gotta say, he died with a clear conscience, and I could say he was fully redeemed. He fully redeemed himself after this. And now, about the whole thing with the sisters, we find out the name of their leader, the High Priestess. And I gotta say, she is crazy and weird, but also very, very evil. She controls the rest of the sisters like some kind of hive mind, infecting them with kaiju blood and controlling their minds. And she still has Brynna under her control somehow. And now we find out that the High Priestess and the rest of the sisters want to cleanse Boy of all his memories of Haley, Taylor, and May, everyone he's been in contact with, in order to make him a pure kaiju again. Erase his memories of all of the people that helped him. And by conquering the world, controlling him to conquer the world. I mean, being the kaiju messiah, he would be that powerful. So they started to plan a rescue mission to save Boy. I mean, everything went through a success. Brynna broke out of her control with the High Priestess, but she got brutally wounded by a Ripper. But other than that, it was a success to get Boy. Now they just have to wait and see if he'll remember everything. If they got him in time. Brynna was so wounded by the Ripper. She couldn't be saved. So their AI, Loa, their AI, made sure that she would die in peace in a dreamlike state of them being a whole family again, making it to the Sydney base. It was all an illusion. I gotta tell you, it was one of the saddest things ever. And Brynna died in peace. They lost their mom, and I don't know if their dad is alive. He could be out there somewhere in the black. And we find out that the sisters are chasing them. And they unleash Boy on them. He's under their control. The High Priestess, they chant ooh, it's creepy, like some kind of evil prayer and everything. And do you know who comes to save them? Apex. I mean, wow. Apex, the biomech Jaeger Kaiju, who has no allegiance to anything, saves Taylor, May, and Haley in order to save Boy, because he has all of Boy's memories when they drifted. And wow, Apex was getting destroyed and everything. So they had to work together, Atlas Destroyer and Apex, in order to get him back. And it was a success. Atlas Destroyer was holding Boy back, down, while Apex was restoring Boy's memories. And it worked. But Apex was shut down. And after Boy came to, he was still in his kaiju form, and he saw what he did to Apex. Brutally broken and everything. Boy was so horrified and sad. But they had to get back to Sydney. To the Sydney base. And at the end of that episode, the High Priestess told her minions or sisters to call out the Breacher, which is like a kaiju I've never even heard of before. And we hear about Loa, the AI in Atlas Destroyer, why she was decommissioned. It turns out she didn't follow orders of her original pilots, like she was telling her original pilots to flee and stuff in a Jaeger kaiju fight, and they didn't listen to her. And now we know about her secrets and reason of guilt. And now we find out that the Breacher is a Category 6 kaiju. There's never been a Category 6 in the movies before. They've only gone up to Category 5. I don't know how big what a Category kaiju is like, how they describe kaijus and everything with their categories. But this thing was like a lot more powerful than the two Category 5s we've seen in the movies, and Copperhead, the Category 4 we saw in the show. The only thing that would beat a Category 6 kaiju like the Breacher would be like Godzilla. They couldn't even beat it. It ripped off their saber chain like it was nothing. And then it ripped off their left arm of their Jaeger. And Boy couldn't even fight back. And we saw what the High Priestess even looked like. She was like a human kaiju hybrid or something. I don't even know. It was freaky. They were fighting outside the Sydney base. They finally made it to the Jaeger Sydney base. But they still had to deal with the sisters and... No, just the High Priestess and the Breacher. So, Loa did the only thing she could. She put Taylor and Haley in escape pods and ejected them out of Atlas Destroyer, and she activated the self-destruct to destroy the Breacher. And that was it for Loa and their Jaeger. But they were alive. And and Boy, he killed the High Priestess. Wow. Yikes. I thought someone else would have... I thought May would have the chance. After all, some of her friends were turned into sisters. And when they finally got to the Sydney on the inside of the base. And guess who was there? Their dad. Taylor and Haley's dad was alive. He was brought there after he escaped their Jaeger. They told him about what happened. Taylor and Haley told their father what happened to their mom. It was sad, but once he met Boy and May, he knew his family. He really accepted them as a part of the family. And we learned from the PBDC commander, the marshal of the Sydney base, that they found Boy in the desert, just wandering there. And they took him into the Jaeger base that was in Australia, where they found Boy, and they knew what he was automatically from the scans and everything. I mean, it's pretty easy to find out that he's like a kaiju if you scan him right, with this kaiju blood and everything. But Boy chose not to be who he wants to be. And that Taylor had these dog tags that were given by his mom from his grandfather when he completed Jaeger training and everything. And now he gave them back to his mom in her grave. I mean, like a grave thing that they do for soldiers inside a small room with their names, kind of like a memorial. And that is the end of Pacific Rim the Black. No more sisters, no more Breacher, but there's still kaiju out there. And I think this is the series finale. I don't know if they're gonna make another season. I gotta tell you, this series of Pacific Rim was unlike anything from the movies, and I loved every single minute and second and millisecond of it. And both seasons have only 7 episodes, so you can watch both seasons quite easily. You can binge watch them on Netflix. But prepare to be sad and a lot of things. This 3D anime is amazing. I mean, they were originally going to do like a 2D and 3D thing, kind of like a DreamWorks movie, but they decided just to keep it 3D all around. And I respect this whole thing on their decision. So, that's going to be it for my review on Pacific Rim the Black. And I hope you guys like, subscribe, and comment on my videos and everything, because I want to reach 1,000 subscribers. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and sorry it took so long, but I really like to give an in-depth review on every single one of my movies and things. So, be sure to tune in next week. So, this is Critter Creature signing off. Rah!